Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a Ken. Like Jazzy, Stacy, Nikki. All of the Barbies is pretty. Damn, all of the Barbies is bad.
Good morning to Coosa High School. Today's Thursday, January 18th. Today's birthdays go out to Jacqueline Garza. On Friday, we have Layla Barrett. And on Sunday, we have Dane Leapak. Today for clubs, we have student council in the auditorium. For after-school events, we have boys basketball versus Wisconsin Dells home and wrestling versus Wisconsin Dells away. On Friday, we have chess club and we have girls basketball versus Wisconsin Dells home. On Saturday, we have chess club at Wapaka and Macuthi Youth Case Club.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today I took some time to interview the new superintendent, Mr. Black, to see how the change is going into the new role.
So, hi, I am Nathan Black. I am the new superintendent here in Coosa. Now, most of you have known me from my role as the middle school principal for the last 5 years. And so one of the questions that's come up is, how are things different now that I'm superintendent as opposed to a principal? Now, a big part of that is that I'm involved in all of the three schools. As those of you who knew me from AMS basically would see me in the hallways. I'd be in and out, and I'm still in the hallways. However, now that I'm not working directly with students as much as I did as a principal. I'd have to say that's probably one of the biggest parts, and one of the parts I probably miss the most. I'm working a lot with parents. I'm working a lot with teachers, principals, making sure we've got the structures set up to be able to support you, and I'm sort of not as directly involved in that support as before. When I was at the middle school, I had sort of had a chop off. I basically didn't see people very much after they left 8th grade, but now I'm enjoying that part to be able to slide back.
Do you have any new specific goals going into your new role?
So now a lot of the goals for one of the best pieces of advice I've got for change is in the first year, the only major thing you would change is the landscaping. What that means is you're not trying to go, if I came in saying, hey, I want to go ahead and redo everything, here's whatever else, I'm not respecting the work that's been done beforehand. If I need to spend time understanding the work that the teachers are doing, the work that each individual building is doing. I'm familiar with it as having been in the district, but just understanding to get things done well, it takes a lot of coordination, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of people working together. And I need to understand the strengths and the type of things that people are already doing instead of just going ahead and making changes that don't honor that. So I'd have to say in year one, a lot of it is connecting, is listening, is trying to understand how the great things that are happening, and then additional things as we're working on to be able to help build on top of that. But there's a phrase that was said by Stephen Covey that I appreciate. Seek to understand and then to be understood. That's what I'm trying to do in year one.
And how hard or easy was the transfer going into your new role?
Well, hard and easy at the same time. It was like one of the things that, when I transitioned to a principal, for example, that one I'd seen what other principals have done. I'd worked around a lot of other principals, and as transitioning into superintendent, I'd worked very closely with the previous superintendent. So that part, I had some ideas of what it looked like in some parts of it. Now, that said, there's a big learning curve. There's stuff you don't know what you don't know as you're going into situations. And so I'd have to say that there's been a lot of things like I have to do with legal issues. I have to be able to understand what is happening, and just like, let's take snow days, for example. This is a brand new thing to be able to, how do I call? How do I look at the weather stations? I'm talking with our other superintendents. I talk with our bus company. There's a lot of things that I knew happened behind the scenes, and I sort of waited for a call to be made. But now that I have to make the call and make those determinations, hey, that is just, I have to learn how to do something new that way.
And what is our snow day protocol, and has it changed in the past?
Okay, so our snow day protocol. I sent out in December an email and a video to all our families, just basically to set our snow day protocol. I'd say the basic thing is that I'd say the biggest change this year over last year, as was probably noted last week as we had our snow days, is that as much as possible we're making the call in the morning. Now, the first time we had a snow day, we made a call the day before. The reason for that is that we had some really high winds that were forecast. And basically, if we're going to make a decision, we had several times last year that a snow day took place when we got to school and said, wait a minute, this didn't need to be a snow day. That's the nature of weather. And as a result of that, we wanted to make the decision when it's most accurate as close as we can. What that means is somebody goes out on the roads at 4 a.m. To be able to see what the actual conditions are. I'm up, I'm looking at the weather reports and those type of things. Now, the first snow day we had last Tuesday, that the winds were so high that it wouldn't have been safe for our person to do that check. And so we said, hey, on the issue of safety, we'll go ahead and just make the call early. And so if it's that type of situation, we're comfortable doing that. But in most cases, like for our second snow day, we're going to make our call on the day of, just so we can be the most accurate on that one. And so, as it turns out, yep, that was a very accurate call. This is a big storm that came in, and that's where that came out to. So I'd have to say that our snow day protocol that we're going with further on this one, just to be clear on it, is that we have 2 built-in snow days, and we've now used those at this point. So any future snow days that come up, we are going to be making those up as virtual learning days on scheduled in-service days. For a few years, we had a thing that we would say, okay, bring your Chromebooks home, let's go ahead and do virtual learning on the day of a snow day. And we just learned that it really didn't work too well. You know, pretty much something that you prepare for, something that you get ready for, makes a lot more difference in learning online, which is a lot different. And so that would probably be we did it towards the end of last year, but now our policy is that if we have some makeup days, so if the next snow day hits, that we call that, you don't have to do anything on that day, but we will make up that time on the day of the next in-service day that we have scheduled.
Thank you, Mr. Black. If you have any questions about the new role, you can email him or contact the office.
As you may know, there are some teachers out on long-term leaves. So today I took some time to interview Miss Heil to see what it's like being a long-term substitute. This is what I found out. So, what's it like being a long-term substitute teacher?
So, as a long-term substitute teacher, I get to interact with students more and get to build those relationships from having the same students every day versus as a short-term sub when I'm just here every once in a while. So that's pretty nice. I'm also more in charge of like grading and things like that.
What are some responsibilities that come with being a long-term sub?
So grading, and I have to change the lesson plans around for things like snow days, and if we don't get through everything we're supposed to in a day, that kind of thing. Pretty much it.
And would you be willing to be a long-term substitute again in the future?
Yes.
For sure. That's all we got for you. Thank you, Ms. Heil. With any other questions you have about it, being a long-term substitute, you can ask her.
Alright, as some of you may have seen, there are some new cameras around the school. I took time to interview Mrs. Baldwin and ask her about those. Alright, so why was the switch to the new cameras?
There's a lot of reasons. Our old system was just that old. Very old technology. A lot of them kept glitching out, and it took a long time to get them fixed. Luckily, no crucial ones, but some, that's concerning, of course. So there was some of the ESSERS dollars that were available to all school districts across the nation after COVID, and so the district decided to use some of that to replace that. So it's essentially kind of a free replacement, so why wouldn't we,
What's different about these new cameras?
So much. We have a few extra where, angles weren't really great, or we had some issues that, weren't perfect. The technology that's in this, there's some AI technology, so we can do facial recognition, vehicle recognition. We can search for people that meet certain criteria, like I can put in blue backpack, green pants, whatever, right? We can search for people of interest. We can get alerts if someone's not allowed on campus any time of the day. So even if they come to a game and they're not allowed to be here, we can get an alert. I can access it on my phone really, really easily. So if I'm not in the building for whatever reason, I can still access the things that I need to. Those are kind of the quick ones. But there's other features too. We're still learning the system, so frankly, I don't know all of them. Oh, it's easier for us to save footage and to take screenshots of things as well, which is really nice. And then it automatically saves to the cloud, which is very, very helpful for us.
And what does this mean for the students?
I would say increased security. A lot of students across the nation, again, often don't feel safe at schools. This is just something that's happening in our society, you know, with a lot of the school violence that's happened over the past and sometimes still does continue. So now we can move much more quickly and have that increased security. If someone doesn't belong here, we can find them more quickly, more rapidly, things like that. Along with the camera system is a better system at the doors as well. So when visitors come in, ringing in, that will be all upgraded. So that'll help with that as well, that increased security. And we can just see things a lot more clearer, which is another benefit. So if something gets stolen, in the past we're like, well, I can look, no promises. And if it's a big item in the old system, sure, we could see that pretty easily. But if it's a smaller item, odds are, or if it was a certain spot in the hallway, like, oh, I can see the bottom, you know, whatever, and you can't really see everything all the time, that's all kind of gone away. That's part of the reason why we were okay with allowing build and brim hats this year, because we knew the system was coming and we knew what it was looking like. So not only can you now wear hats a little bit more freely, but we can recognize the people who are wearing those hats a lot better, because it's just a lot clearer. The shadow isn't such a big deal anymore. The angle of the cameras are way wider than they used to be. So it's not worth fighting over whether or not you can wear a hat, because for the most part, we often don't care. But for that security reason in the past, we had always had that be a rule. But now we don't need to. So it's kind of nice that we don't have to fight over that anymore. So those are kind of the big benefits, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Baldwin. If you have any other questions, feel free to go to our office or contact her online. Thank you.
As some of you may know, the semester is ending, so I took my time to interview a link leader to see how his freshman kids are adapting to the new grades. Who are you?
Alright, my name's Braden Lochner. I'm the link leader for Mrs. O'Donnell, or some of you guys might know her as Senora.
What is Link Crew?
Link Crew's where the upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, go get trained for 2 days over the summer, and then they come in with the new freshman groups. They spend the first day with them for their freshman orientation, and then they check up on them once a week throughout the year.
How are your Link members' grades?
Most of my Link members' grades are doing pretty good. I know some kids in the advisory are struggling, but I think most of my Link kids are doing pretty good.
Do you enjoy Link Crew?
I do enjoy Link Crew. I probably will do it again if they accept me, and the kids aren't that bad. I'll definitely be better next year, though.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite memory?
Favorite memory? Probably that first day, you know, little dance battle. That was pretty camp.
Alrighty, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Braden. If you have any questions about Link Crew or possibly joining, you can ask his other fellow Link leaders. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Narrell. I am the Youth Apprenticeship Coordinator here at Nakusa High School. Youth Apprenticeship is an opportunity for students to explore their career avenues that they might want to do in the future by being mentored by somebody in the workplace that is related to a career that you're interested in going into. So, for example, if you wanted to be an electrician, you would go and you would work for an electrician as a youth apprentice and be able to do the things that they might do on a job by being mentored with somebody who is an electrician.
How can I join Youth Apprenticeship?
You can join Youth Apprenticeship by coming down and talking to me in my classroom. My classroom is room 103. I am available during advisory if you would be interested in learning more about Youth Apprenticeship.
How does Youth Apprenticeship affect my future?
Youth Apprenticeship can affect your future, or in a better way, influence your future in order to help you get a jump start on the career that you are looking into doing after high school. as well as also getting the work experience to find out maybe you don't want to do something. But it is super helpful and influential either way to explore careers for after you graduate.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
If you watch the NHSN, stay cool!